Hello and welcome to Titanic, Mrs. Thomas Andrews. Today we have a very special program and a very special interview for you. Today we welcome Alec Zavian. Thank you, Alex, for being on the program.
Yeah, sure, anytime.
This young man, this gentleman, is quite the accomplished, studious, responsible young man that I have ever met. I've known Alex since he was a little boy, and that little boy had become quite fascinated, and he just loved everything about the Titanic and history in general. I would bring him books and things by from time to time. There was a time that I do remember that I must share with you that I was doing a program at the Lee Library here in town, and his father became so busy that he wasn't able to bring him to the program, and I remember how much you missed that program. So Mrs. Andrews brought the program to Alec, and since then the rest is history. Welcome, Alec.
Thank you for having me very much.
Now, Alec, when you had told me that, and I had seen in your father's window, he's got this window there at the jeweler's, and this beautiful picture window, what did I drive up one day and see? The Titanic. And I was so taken with the fact that you became so inspired with the story. Hopefully I was a part of that, and all that your research you've done.
Oh, yeah.
So we would love to hear you tell us about your ship.
Yeah, well, I got it for Christmas last year. Every year I kind of work on Legos, and last year at some point they came out with a Lego Titanic set, and I just basically showed my dad, and I was like, I have to have this. I need to build it, right?
Tell Dad.
Oh yeah, yeah. So it took me around 2 weeks to build, I'd say, around 30 hours. It's a 1 to 200 scale model. It's got 9,000 pieces in it, and it's very accurate at least for a Lego model. So one thing that is, at least my favorite feature about it, is the fact that it comes apart. So if I take these pieces out here, I can
This is so fascinating.
slide it apart and
Imagine a Titanic built
inside.
out of Legos. And I see Buddy, our laddie here, you were helping Alec. Yes, you are helping him with the ship.
yeah. So if you look on the inside here, these are all the engines as well, and there's all the cabins, all the first, second, and third class all in here. In the front, you can see that there's a pool as well. You can kind of see it. There's a pool down there, and all the boilers and the engines in the bottom, and the ballroom in the top. And it's got all the engine rooms in the bottom as well, and it's very detailed on the inside for the scale of it, which I find is my favorite part of the whole thing.
Indeed.
Oh yeah.
Now, you had told me out in front of his father's business there is a large moving Ferris wheel. And it's actually, well, to me it looks like a duplicate of the 1893 Ferris wheel that was featured at the Columbian Exposition in Chicago. Would you mind telling me a bit about that? And that also is made of Legos.
Yeah, yeah, so I got that a couple years back. That was another Christmas present. Yeah, I worked on it, I think, when I was 13 or 14 years old, and it was, I think, 6,000 pieces in that. There was a lot of pieces in that one, too. That took me 2 or 3 weeks, and the actual wheel was too tall for me to reach at the time, so I had to get a step ladder
You did this when you were much
to reach
younger.
up. Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, it's like 5 or 6 feet tall, and it's right now it's sitting in the window of my uncle's clothing store. It's right there for everyone to see as they go by.
When you drive by, you can see, either from the front, you can see the wheel, the Ferris wheel, or if you happen to pull in the side parking lot there, in the window, you will see the Titanic greet you right there. Is there anything you would like to share with us? I understand you'll be leaving soon, September 3rd, and you said your parents will be taking you to school?
Yep.
What a nice send-off.
Yeah, it's gonna be really nice. Yeah.
Yes. Now, are you going to have your own room, or will you be sharing with others?
Yeah, I'm gonna be in a double. I'm gonna share with someone else. I know my roommate. I've already met him.
Very
so,
very
and
nice.
he's a nice guy. So, I'm
That'll
excited.
That'll be very nice. And the
Yeah.
fact that you know one another will make this transition that much easier.
Yeah.
Now, when will you be returning back to us here?
Well, I'm gonna come back for winter break during
Christmas.
December. Yeah, for around Christmas time, I'm gonna be back, and I'm gonna leave in late January again,
Wonderful.
and then I'll be back in late May for summertime.
Just enough time for us to have him back to show us another one of his projects. He wasn't aware, in fact, I wasn't aware until recently, that there is, out of Legos, which I shared with you, there is a Titanic's grand staircase. So that's your homework from us here, to tell Dad you want that for Christmas, and maybe next summer you can present it here. Please, Dad? But I'm just so taken with your, you're so grown, and you're so responsible, and you're so ready for life, it seems. And I at your age, I was a mess. I just can't imagine. And then starting college as a freshman and just beginning now, this is a big, should I say, important voyage for you. And I can't say how much we are all here at the studio appreciative that you took the time to be here with us. Right, buddy? Mr. Laddie? He's going to come and talk. Yes, yes. Are you here to see Alec off and see his ship? Yes. Did you finish your cookie that Alec gave you? Yes, this is a good boy. Yes, you are. Well, while we're still here, I wanted to bring a few things to share with Alec as a special addition to his wonderful model, to complement it. Now, in front of the ship, there is an actual framed piece from one of the ledgers at Harlan and Wolff Shipyard that features the spanners. And there's a photograph there where you can see it on the wall next to the drinking fountain there in the, I believe it's the gymnasium. I may be wrong on that. And then, of course, we have down below, we have one of Mr. Andrews' corporate photos that were taken in 1901 when photographer Robert Welch, he did most of all, if not all, Belfast photography, but he also did all the work in photography for Harlan and Wolff Shipyard. So he came in and he did a set of photos of Mr. Andrews. And I can't help but think of him and then think of you and draw a connection. He would have been quite honored to have you work there under him at Harlan and Wolff.
Thank you, yeah. It would have been really cool to do that, actually.
You would have had your own desk across the
Oh,
hall
yeah.
to yourself. And then we have in front also is a piece of carpeting. Now this carpeting was recently donated to Titanic Mrs. Thomas Andrews from Ulster Carpets over in North Ireland. Now, Adam, thank you very much, and everyone at Ulster Carpets for sending this. What the Mr. and Mrs. Andrews' original home on Windsor Avenue, after Mr. Andrews lost his life on the Titanic, a short while afterwards, Mrs. Andrews had moved out of there with baby Alba. And as the years and the decades went by, different people were there and different organizations. And I believe it was the Irish Football Association there quite recently, and now it is a cancer institute, which they are doing a wonderful job in keeping the original part of the building historically accurate, and then they added another wing behind that for their cancer institute. Well, the carpet there was a red carpet originally, and most everyone has seen it in pictures of his home that persons have gone and visited. You would have seen a red carpet in the foyer and, of course, on the stairs. Well, they decided to try to, during restoration, try to put the carpet as close back to the original carpeting that was there when Mr. and Mrs. Andrews were living. And this piece of carpet here is quite close to the original, and I'm honored, and I'm absolutely so very humbled for their gift. And so there we have a bit of the carpeting that is now in Dunallen on Windsor Avenue in Belfast, where in the early hours of April 2nd, 1912, Mr. Andrews left his home for the very last time. Alec, do you have any questions, or are interested in any other items that are here today?
Well, yeah, I saw these locker keys, pocket watches. Yeah.
If you wouldn't mind holding up, and they do fall off there, so you can hold it up with your hand if you'd like. I brought several items that were actually found on the grounds of the Harlan and Wolff shipyard and recovered out of the mud in the remains of the Arrow gantry. And this is a very nice pocket watch, actually. And on the very back, you can see the Belfast maker that is on the back of the watch. And this watch was a very expensive watch at the time, and most probably would have belonged to a foreman. So thank you, Alec, for holding that up. And if you'd like to hold up those other items here. Alec is holding a locker key found also at Harlan and Wolff in the remains. And you would have a locker there and a number that either yourself or I'm sure was shared with others to put your tools and your personal items while you were there at work. Interestingly, and then we have a ring. Now, there's a ring here which we're not quite certain if it is a piece of hardware or it is possibly a gentleman's wedding ring that is tarnished and all over the years. So it brings the human aspect forward of the men there at the yard, and that had you been living at that time, you would have been working with them.
Oh, yeah.
Now, next to me on the table here, I had, let me see if I can grab this without my knocking it over, and I will give this to Alec, and if he would do the honors of holding that up. Alec, do you remember what I taught you about this board?
About this board?
This one here, the wage board?
Yeah, that's the stamp, right? Of
Harlan Wolff,
Yeah,
yes,
Harlan
very
and
good.
Wolff, yeah.
See, that's would have been one of you in there with the men. But the wage board here, that was actually how you were paid when payday came around. What they would do is they would wrap your pounds, your wages, around your board, and at the very bottom there's a number. So all employees had a number assigned to them on their wage board. And this wage board would have your pay on when payday came around. And then at the end, after everyone has collected their payroll, then they would walk back through the office, and there was a gentleman at the table, and you would toss your boards to him so he can take those numbers, put them back in their proper slots, and be ready for next payday. So a wonderful way of doing things without all the computer things we use now. And this here, we have I was showing Alec, this is the actual notes. It's a copy. I didn't dare bring the original, but it's a copy of Mr. Andrews' notes that he made while on voyage, on Olympic, and things to improve for Olympic and Titanic. And would you mind reading what this is, Alec, before we say goodbye?
It says, founded in 1893, Thomas Andrews Jr. was a member of the Society of Naval Architects and Marine Engineers from New York. It's
And
a
this
membership pin.
tie pin would have been one of the ones he would have worn proudly to the meetings and there once in a while at work as well. Well, Alec, we are so grateful that you came here to be with us. I know your time is very short.
Thank you very much for having me.
We're thinking only a little over a week, and you will be leaving us to Boston.
Oh, yeah.
We will miss you, but I have your homework, and you shall bring your, was it the Falcon?
Yeah, the Millennium Falcon, yeah.
You're going to bring that maybe when you return, and then your Christmas homework is to tell Dad, that you would like Titanic's Grand Staircase, the Lego Grand Staircase.
Yeah.
He needs it. Well, thank you, Alec, for being here with us
Thank
today.
you very much.
Thank you. And thank you, Buddy, Laddie. He's running about here. And I would like to say, in recent weeks, we've had weeks and months, the Titanic family and Titanic Mrs. Thomas Andrews has had losses, great losses of our family and friends. We recently lost 2 friends, and I would like to remember them in these last few but simple words that pretty much sums it up. In the words of Paul-Henri Nargeolet, Titanic researcher, scientist, and diver to Titanic over 37 times, 37 or approximately, known as PH to the Titanic community in the world. In his words, Titanic is a great story, a human story. In the words of Olga May Milligan, who was also known to us as, over the years, she had many roles, Eunice Bailey, Aunt Lizzie, and Mother Barbara. And in her words, she, which I love so very much, she would say, "You bet your life." And for me, thank you for being here. I'm Denise D. Venaria, also known to you, and yours truly, Mrs. Andrews. Thank you for joining us, and be good to one another.
gentle waters blow to meet the heather on the shore, rising from the sea. Oh, bonny hills, I long for thee. Take me home, take me home. I hear your voice, I feel your hand, my emerald isle, my sacred land. Across the endless sea, you sing to me. How green thy fragrant meadow blooms beneath the flowering laurel tree, rising from my tree. Your spirit calls, I answer thee. Take me home.